halflings, lightlings, hybrids, and everybody in between. How are you today? I hope you're all well and enjoying the fall. It's getting cooler, leaves are falling off the trees, and I am just loving this time of year. Oh, yes, it is the season of the witch, right? So, we're going to continue with our witch lore state by state series. And I told y'all to leave me in the comments what you wanted me to do next, and Indiana was Floki Sigurd. He says hi. Say hi, Floki. Say hi. My darling. My infernal beast. Anyway, sorry. So Indiana was the first to be commented, so we're doing Indiana today. Lady Blind Wolf and Abby the Witch, so this is for you. Next, we will be doing Michigan. So after Michigan, comment what state you want next. Alrighty, I got some interesting ones today, some juicy ones, and I'm going to repeat what I said in the last video. I am aware that a lot of these stories are exaggerated when it comes to witches or paganism or the stigmas on it, but I'm doing this for fun, doing it for the stories, just the creepy season, the atmosphere. This does not in any way speak for modern witches or the witch community or how we know ourselves to be, if that makes sense. If you want a reading from me, I'm going to leave my Ko-fi link in the description, and don't forget to check out my books, Finding Destiny Bloodline Sagas and Accepting Fate Bloodline Sagas, on Kindle Unlimited now, so you can read it for free. Yeah, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, guys, let's get into it. The first one is the Witch's Castle in Utica, Indiana. Utica, Indiana sits near the Ohio River, a quiet town with a population of around 6,000 residents established in 1795. The Mistletoe Falls estate sits near the river bank on the hill, hidden by trees, and it seems like nature's taken over the ruins. A small waterfall runs down a nearby slope of the land. Legend says that it is a very pagan temple where 3 witch sisters lived, and it was built by the Welsh prince Madoc. Madoc is said to have arrived in America in the 1100s, long before Columbus, and later the witches took over this fort, which should be noted he built forts all over where he had explored in America. The witches who lived there are said to be French and daughters of Charles Tully, the founder of Shawnee Tullytown. The townspeople mobbed together, hearing about the witches, but were also under motivations of vengeance. After losing battles in Tullytown, or known as the Devil's Backbone area, not far from Utica, they burned the castle down and tied the sisters to a raft, kicking the raft into the nearby water, and it's assumed that the raft went over the Ohio Falls, where the witches fell to their death. Before dying, the witches cursed the town and their descendants. The curse would expose to be true in the 1800s. During a water reroute, Utica damn near became a ghost town. Later in the 1800s, another legend is told of 3 old women who lived in a cabin on the property nearby the estate. They became violent if anyone came close to the property. They started going missing, so the town grew suspicious. Investigating the cabin to find human skin drying in the house, discarded bones in the corners all over the floor, and a boiling human heart over the hearth. Women were hanged in the trees near the castle, and they burnt the cabin down. Later, January 1992, a young girl was gruesomely murdered by four other teenage girls on the castle's location. It is said that this caused more speculation by the town about the witch's castle, leading it to be vandalized heavily. Unfortunately, this isn't the only tragedy that took place there. Before the building was purchased by the current owners, a young boy and his family lived on the property. One night, a thief broke in and killed the boy's parents. The burglar was executed, but years later, when the boy grew into a man, he took vengeance on the thief, taking 7 of his family members to the property, where he hung them all from the trees that tower over Mistletoe Falls estate, said to be the same trees that the 3 old hags were hanged. After he hung them, the man shot himself in the same location. Mediums and paranormal investigators have seen apparitions of women there. I hope the spirits of this location find peace, and the murdered girl's family as well, whose life was taken too early. That was a really gruesome story, and out of respect for the family and all, I didn't want to go too deep into that. But I'll be linking videos in the description if you want to know more about the murder that took place there. Witch's Circle, Daleville, Indiana. Daleville is a small town in Salem Township, Delaware County, Indiana. Population around 1,651 in the census of 2020. Named after the Dale family who settled in the land in 1820. Not recognized as a town until 1982. It's a lot like the town I'm staying in now. It wasn't even considered a town until like the 90s, and I mean, you can still hardly call it a town. This place is surrounded by large fields and deep woods, where a cemetery lies, surrounded by trees. Legends say that baneful witches gather at Sharp Cemetery, also known as the Witch's Circle, performing black magic and satanic rituals. Demonic entities summoned by these witches are said to haunt the area. People report screams, voices, shadow figures, and strange lights, and this doesn't even cover all of the reports. There are so many, we'd be here all day if I kept listing them. I'm going to note the more interesting ones. Some people report being chased away by unknown entities that are too fast for them to see. In the cemetery, there are gravestones with red stains on them that never seem to go away. Some speculate that it's old blood. Others say wax from witches' rituals, while others say, it's just paint. People have reported that a woman in white stalks the area with an old man spirit who used to live near the witch's circle. Kids play a little game with the gravestones. It is said that if you walk forward in the rows, you count 13 headstones, but then you walk backwards and you will only count 12 with one disappearing. Perhaps it's a trick on the people by the spirits. Many have investigated this place, all reporting some sort of results and evidence of it being haunted. They've captured EVPs, photos of orbs or light anomalies, whistles, knocking, screams, footsteps, and flashlight manipulation. The list never seems to end. The cemetery is beautiful and old. Most graves have dates from the 1800s, and many fear the idea of witches gathering there to this day, doing ritualistic magic, and others speculate satanic and darker intent. They blame the witches for the cause of the activity. Others think witches have gathered there since the 1800s. Regardless, Sharp Cemetery, or the Witch's Circle, is an interesting place of note indeed. And with our last one for Indiana, the Witch of Rochester. Irene Ray. In 1938, a woman in Rochester, Indiana, and her family was driven from their home due to Irene being accused of witchcraft. It was said that she cursed several townsfolk, making them seriously ill, causing damage to property and even death. Her family was considered poor, and their neighbors resented them for needing assistance, judging them in a negative way for it. Irene allegedly got into some arguments with neighbors and other people, one notably a woman named Georgia Knight Conrad. They had a dispute over purchases of antiques, resulting in Irene telling Georgia she would be sorry. And soon after, Georgia fell faint and sick with a leaking heart valve. The next alleged victim was the police chief, Clay Sheets, after he removed Irene's granddaughter from her home for charges against moral of the household. I don't even know what morals of the household's supposed to mean, but okay. A few days later, the chief died of a heart attack. Other allegations include Irene caused floods, insomnia among the town, fires, and more. People accused her of stealing hair from neighbors and creating voodoo dolls to make them ill. She would also make her neighbors' crops fail. The newspapers went wild with the stories of this woman, especially after she was arrested and then driven from the town. Her only way of release after being arrested and charged was if she agreed to leave. Which, I mean, it's interesting because I had looked it up while researching this, and witchcraft wasn't exactly illegal in Indiana, but I mean, this was the 30s. I'm sure people still had superstitions, and being a small town, I can see how one could be driven away, regardless of it being a legal matter or not. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. That was Indiana. I am loving this so far. Loving the things I'm uncovering. Loving all of it. So come on, give me more. Give me states. Let's go. Next, we are doing Michigan. And then we'll decide from the comments on this video. I love you guys so much. And yeah, stay beautiful.